Forfeiting tribal immunity. Now that isn't something we have seen very often in Survivor. Giving up your safety in the game to choose to go to tribal council and put yourself in the firing line. It is an extremely dangerous move, and one that I am sure most players would advise against. Today at Analytical Strategy we are going to go through the 3 occasions in Survivor's 40-year history where immunity has been forfeited, and understand why these tribes decided to go down that route. Now before we delve into each of these, we need to understand that forfeiting is very different to throwing a challenge. Forfeiting is conceding the victory to the other team or tribe by default, whilst throwing a challenge you are still competing, but deliberately attempting to lose. I mean, we even saw in Caramoan the Brawn tribe throw the challenge and still win immunity. So these 3 instances we will be discussing is when the tribe conceded the victory to the other tribe. Now let's go through these in the order that they occurred. So the first occurrence of giving up tribal immunity occurred within Survivor Fiji, the 14th season of the show. Within this season there was probably the most one-sided reward the show has ever seen, in the haves versus have-nots, where in the early stages of the game one tribe basically won paradise when it comes to Survivor camp life, whilst the other had the bare essentials to proceed within the game. The advantage the tribe which won these rewards was evident from the get-go, winning immunities with ease and really having a nice vacation back at camp. It was a rich versus poor scenario, with the rich unsurprisingly dominating the game and the poor tribe being severely diminished. This type of idea might work in the likes of Big Brother, but not in Survivor. I think production realised this as the season progressed, which was where the proposition of giving up immunity came into play. The Moto tribe, or the tribe with the luxurious camp, again won immunity, and Jeff gave them an option to keep immunity but to have to swap camps with the Ravu tribe, or to forfeit immunity and get to stay at the rich campsite with all the fixins. The tribe decided to give up immunity to keep their campsite. That's how good it was. They gave up safety in the game to stay rich and to stay on this cruisy vacation. Due to this, Liliana was voted out of the game without ever losing a challenge. And in the same episode of Papa Smurf also quitting due to illness, the tribe lost 2 members in the one episode even though they won immunity. In saying this, they were the only 2 tribe members that Moto lost before the merge took place, which gave them an overwhelming majority by the time the merge hit. So whilst they didn't forfeit the challenge, they did forfeit immunity, and were the first tribe to ever do so due to Jeff's dilemma. The next occurrence of this was 10 seasons later in Survivor One World, where the male tribe decided to unanimously forfeit immunity to the women after winning the immunity challenge. Now when we discuss the dumbest moves in Survivor history, we often hear about Eric giving up the necklace, James going home with 2 idols, but we rarely ever hear about this move. To me, it is the most underrated dumbest move in Survivor history. Now this move all revolved around Colton's hatred for Bill, and how much power he had in the game at this point in the season. He was debating giving up immunity with Jonas and Troyzan so that Bill would leave the game, which then turned into Tarzan wanting to cull Leaf for spilling the beans about the plan to get rid of Bill. It was an absolute mess, and the women couldn't be more thrilled at this decision. In the end, all 8, yes all 8 of the men agreed to give up immunity and go to tribal council that very evening. After a very difficult tribal council with a lot of underlying themes of racism and prejudice, Colton did get his way, and Bill was sent home in a 7-1 vote that night. Forfeiting immunity for the men was the beginning of their downfall in this game. Now I still think Kim would have blitzed the competition regardless, but it really was the beginning of their demise. They ended up getting to the merge 6 men versus 6 women, after Monica was voted out and Colton quit the game after faking an appendicitis, when this easily could have been 7 men versus 5 women, with a clear majority and easy pickings. The fact this decision had to be unanimous was the most baffling thing, with Bill clearly being in the firing line by Colton, Colton being in the firing line by Bill, Leaf being in the firing line by Tarzan, and still, yet all of them thought it was a great idea to go to tribal council. Truly an absolutely horrendous decision to forfeit immunity, and again, one of the worst moves this game has ever seen. Now the final and most legitimate case of forfeiting immunity was in Season 26, Survivor Caramoan, where the tribe decided not to participate in the challenge, and this was to vote out the one and only Brandon Hance. Now when I say the most legitimate, I say this from both a game perspective and a forfeiting perspective. From a game perspective, Brandon was obviously not mentally in the best place, absolutely steaming from Philip's campaign with Stealth R Us, assigning roles and nicknames to individuals within his alliance. It did make sense for each member of Stealth R Us to take Brandon out, as after he threw out all of their food and made threats against Philip, it was in their best interest purely from a harmonious perspective that Brandon should go home. Now from a forfeiting perspective, I do see this as the most legitimate case as well, as they did not even participate in the challenge at all, whilst in the previous two cases, the decision was made after already winning immunity. So not only did this tribe forfeit immunity, they also forfeited the challenge as well, being the only time this has occurred within 40 seasons. Jeff was really on top of his game at this moment, realising how steamed up Brandon was towards Philip especially, that an impromptu tribal council was held then and there, and the rest of the tribe unanimously took Brandon out of the game. This event resulted in a lot of firsts in Survivor, in addition to the ones already mentioned. It was also the first tribal held during the day. It was the first tribal where more than one vote was verbally cast, and it was the first tribal where the rival tribe witnessed their opposition cast their votes. It really was a crazy episode, and absolutely the most justifiable case to forfeit immunity within Survivor history. So there you have it, 3 very unique ways immunity was forfeited in Survivor history. What circumstances would you deliberately give up tribal immunity? I would be very interested to hear what other cases could result in this occurring. Please put them down in the comments below. As always, a big thank you to everyone for watching, and please, if you are old or if you are new, consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps the growth and enables my content to reach a wider audience, so it would be very much appreciated. This is Analytical Strategy and we are signing out once again. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.